One of the best runs, picturesque, was the Whitby by the coast. I mean, it's beautiful scenery, and there's a couple of places where you could actually see, if you look back, if you had 4 coaches, you could see the folks sat in the back coach. The bends were that tight. But we went to Whitby one day, and the driver I had, he was a bit of a funny bloke, really. Before that, they said he'd been at Newcastle, and when the passengers got off the train at Newcastle, he walked down this side of the train to the barrier, you see, and of course he had to pass the engine. And anyhow, they ran in, all the passengers were getting off, and he got off the engine, and he'd got a pair of dark glasses on and a white stick, and he was tapping the edge of the platform all the way. So he says there was 1 or 2 complained about him, but he would run into a station and you couldn't see anybody in the cab, but he had his cap on back to front and he was looking over the top of the door. Real card he was. But it was him I had on this Whitby job one day, and everything was all right. He wasn't a bad driver, like. But when we were stood at Whitby, I was firing it round, and this chap was looking in the cab. So the driver said, I can't think of his name now. He said, do you want to ride? Where you going, like? So he said, Middlesbrough. So he said, get in. So we got him on the engine. I said, sit there and you're out the road then. And away we goes. Whitby town, Whitby Westcliff, down to Sandsend. Well, of course, all the way down to Sandsend, you know, where the road runs past where the railway used to run. It goes all the way down, you see, and then you go through the station, then you climb all the way up through those puttings. So as we're going down, here's me firing away, because it's a hang of a climb, and you've got 2 tunnels at the top. So I'm firing away, like, and Sandy, anyhow, Sandy they call him. He said, he looked across at me and he said, you've got to get a good fire on to go up here, haven't you, John? So I said, oh, aye. He said, yeah, a very good fire, haven't you, John? So I thought, what's going to happen here, like? So anyhow, he stops in Sandsend Station and then he opens the regulator and we sets off. And I had a full head of steam ready for the tunnels at the top. And as we're going in, he said, make sure you got plenty on, John. So I put a few smalls round it, makes twice as much smoke. And I saw him, his hanky in the bucket. I thought, oh. Well, when we hit that tunnel mouth, it was just like going into treacle. Because a single line, there's nowhere for the smoke to go. All it can do is come out of the chimney top and go around, and in the first place it comes to is the cabs. So you get it all in the cab, you see. And they did have pipes at the finish come up through the floor, about like that, and you could put your nose against them and get some fresh air. But this was before that, like. And anyhow, when we hit this tunnel, we went down thing. When we get to Kettleness at the top, this bloke, I think he was green. So Sandy said, are you all right? So he said, you want to go back in the carriage? Like he said, I think I'll go back in the carriage. I thought, what a rotten trick to play on him, like. But usually get a laugh. At Middlesbrough, we had a coal stage. You run the wagons up the coalman dropped the doors, filled the tubs, and then you came underneath with the engine and they tipped the tubs into the engine. At Whitby, it wasn't as elaborate as that. All they had was a crane, and they used to go up and down, pick the wagon of tub of coal up, swing it over the tender, then you had to empty it on the tender. But the thing was, there weren't round tubs, they were square. And the bottom half of one side, it was a door. So what you had to do, you went to the other side and pulled a lever across, which released the door at this side. And of course, when you tipped it up, it used to push the door open, all the coal come out. That was in theory. When you got up there on the top of the coal, don't forget you were struggling on great heaps of coal and nearly breaking your ankle and all this. The first time I went up, swung the tub across for me, and I opened the catch and all the coal fell out all over the floor. So the Whitby lads, they were all stood there having a jolly good laugh. I mean, it was just second nature to them down to do it like. So they say, come on down, we'll show you. And once you got the hang of it, it was good. You swung the tub across, and the moment that you pulled this lever at the back to release the door, you tilted it if you could, that way, pulled the door, and it used to come out, and that was okay. But the first time, oh dear me. But they used to have the same, when they used to come to Middlesbrough shed, there was a Middlesbrough turn came in every morning about 10 o'clock. And they used to get coal. Well, they had a bit of problems the same as we did at Whitby. They had it at Middlesbrough. Only when you tipped the tubs there, the chute was down because there was nothing underneath. You tipped the coal in. Well, the first lot of coal probably covered the bottom. Then you went and got another tub, tipped the next one, and that come up a bit, you see. Well, the third tub would bring the coal up there. So your barrow, instead of being pointing down, was more or less horizontal. Well, you tip it up, it just stood there. So you had to get feet astride and shovel it out, you see, under the tender. And they used to have a right carry on, so we used to give them and like. Well, I know that the first time I went to Scarborough, I thought, oh, good heavens, I'll never get there. I think it's Robin Hood's Bay. I'm not quite sure. But we stopped in Robin Hood's, say it's Robin Hood's Bay. Stopped in Robin Hood's Bay. It's in Robin Hood's Bay. Can't think. And then the line goes all the way up the valley and then comes back and it climbs up to the top. Kettleness, no. Ravenscar at the top. And just before you get to Ravenscar, there's a tunnel. But it's not a straight tunnel, it's a bent tunnel. It's got a bend in it. So anyhow, this first day, drew into whatever it was. So the driver said, now then, keep firing until I tell you to stop. And he said, that's where we're going. Frightened me to death. So I was wailing them in there. And eventually we got there. And it wasn't too bad, like. But when he said, you're going up there, and then when you hit the tunnel mouth, the line immediately swung to the right. And it was a real tight single line tunnel. Again, nowhere for the smoke to go. You got it in the cab. So anyway, it was Middlesbrough coal, which was South Durham coal, and it was noted for slag. When we gets to Scarborough, he said, I will go to the shed and get some coal. And I looked in the fire, and the fire was, nearly level with the mouth, blue. That's all slag. So I said, I'll have to clean the fire. He said, no, you won't. I said, well, the fire's in a hang of a state. He said, I'll leave it alone, it'll be all right. He said, just get the pricker in and just ease the slag up a bit so that the lumps have started to go. And now he said, when we get coal, it was that great big South Yorkshire coal, great big long lumps. He said, drop the door and then throw a few in as the coalman's because the coalman used to call you there. So I kept throwing them in and I thought, oh, good heavens, that's going to be in a mess. By the time we get back to, was it Fallsgrave station? We'll never get out the station, let alone anywhere. Anyway, we go as our bait and got back to the Scarborough station and set off. And I fired it up the best I could. And without a word of a lie, it was easy. Steam kept coming up, it was easy. And as we were coming over the top here, over the Bellman Gate, I looked in the fire and you could see bare bars. The South Yorkshire coal had burnt the slag away. And it was steaming better than it steamed all day. So it showed, proved what different coals could do. One of the best things I've ever seen was, it was a little pilot engine in Marsh Branch, and we were on all night, 11 o'clock at night we started. And I said, we'll go for our bait. Well, when I looked in the fire, I must have put a big lump in, a big lump, I say, about like that. And it had all burnt away, and it was just like twigs, all burnt away. And I wondered if it was a fossil. I mean, we couldn't do anything. It was in the burning firebox. If you'd tried to touch it, it would just fell to bits. But I often wondered afterwards what it was.